Hello and welcome back to the Self-Actualization in the Age of Crisis chapter summary series. I'm your host, Ron Rivers, and today we're going to be discussing chapter 3, calendars and clocks. So the general theme of this chapter is that humanity's knowledge of the changing nature of time sits in deep conflict with the way we track the passage of moments. So presently we operate on what's called a Gregorian calendar, which was introduced in 1582, and it really tracks the Earth's rotation around the sun. So when I say we, it is the calendar of commerce, right? The year's 2023, and so forth and so on, right? There's obviously an initial conflict that we have to address where there are many different calendars existing simultaneously today. Some track specific, important events for those communities. There are lunar calendars, outside of solar calendars. Now, when it was introduced, its intent was to ensure that the equinox fell on March 21st, and that was so that the church could always accurately predict Easter, the holiday. And it works pretty well so long as we cheat every 4 years, right? So I want to emphasize, in order to make this calendar work, we have to actually make something up. We have to add time to it in the form of a leap year. I want to emphasize that it is a false representation of the passage of moments, and the existing Gregorian calendar reinforces specific meaning and values and philosophies of being onto us that are inaccurate given our present day knowledge. The existing calendars, the solar calendars, project a falsehood into our experience. So we actively deceive ourselves in order for the convenience. Humanity cannot transcend the crisis if we're unable to take a serious look at the rituals that we possess that are inadequate to represent the scope of our knowledge within the immediate present, especially if we're dogmatic towards them. There's no need for that. These systems must evolve over time as they have in the past. Also consider the absolute absurdity of prioritizing the spiritual calendar of one religion over the others, right? So why are we not, obviously we know why, right? Because the dominion philosophies of these religions and the monarchies they exported, imperialism throughout the world, etc. There's a reason we've inherited this history, but there's no justification genuinely for not having, us follow the Hebrew calendar or the Chinese calendar, right? There's many different calendars that exist in our immediate present that are very different from the one we inhabit today. Also consider that changing our present calendar and record keeping decouples our immediate present from the quasi-religious conquest dominion philosophies of the past. It would kind of change our way of keeping records away from like a specific winner and give the passage of moments, give it tracking time and tracking out the nature of our being, right? Momentary change to the collective populace. Now, in the book, I detail several calendar alternatives that have been proposed in the past. So, for example, the economist Steve Hanke has a calendar he suggests where essentially, I'm just going to read it, it essentially has a fixed day of the week for each day and adds a new week every 5 to 6 years. Okay, and that kind of makes up for that leap year. And it's more efficient for both personal and commercial use. But where I reject Hanke's calendar is he is essentially resigned to fate. He says we can't break the 7-day cycle. I disagree with that completely. His entire argument is that like the Judeo-Christian community would never accept it. Well, at the end of the day, we're here to kind of build a spiritual renaissance, not be forced to remain in the confines of a past we had no say in choosing. The geologist Caesar Emiliani suggested the Holocene, or what we call a human era calendar. And essentially, I really love this idea because what it tracks is foundational moments in our collective species. So, for example, if we track the transition from being nomadic hunter-gatherers approximately 12,000 years ago to our immediate present, we may say, you know what, that is a better representation of our time experience. So we may say, okay, we could add 10,000 years to the immediate present, and that would be a more accurate representation of our journey. And why that's so important is it binds us in a shared history, in a shared humanity. It becomes less about one specific sect of us that was able to out-oppress the other, and more about our collective realization of bigness together in celebrating all that we've come in such a short period of time, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I think Terence McKenna said it, it's been in a blink of an eye, we've gone from the trees to the starship. It's been an incredible journey. So why not emphasize that in our record keeping? Reimagining our temporal record keeping is a way of more deeply aligning us with the single truth and relational universe. And again, I want to emphasize, it's about a celebration of our humanity, which is why we should strongly consider it both inter-community in the SpiritDAO community and to proliferate throughout the world.